In this lesson, we're going to add comments to our items. We're going to start off in the data collections. We'll create the collection for the comments, and then we'll add some user interface to make it to where you can add those comments. So we'll start over here in data collections. We're going to create a new collection and call it comments. And we'll add a couple of fields here. So the first field I'm going to add will just be comment. And this is just going to be a text field. We'll drag this over just to reorganize it a little bit. I'm going to add another field here called item ID. Okay, so we have these two fields, and that's really all we need. Is just a place to put the comment and a place to store the item ID that this comment is related to. So next on this item page, we're going to create another input value and a button to create a new comment. So let's start with adding an input element. And we'll put that here, the close button, and we'll go ahead and add a container around it as well. So I'll put that right here. Put the input inside. We'll add another element for the button. And maybe we'll change the placeholder here. Comment. And let's change the styling just a little bit. I'm going to make the width on this 100%. Just to make it a little bit bigger so you can enter a little more. We'll say add comment. And I'm also going to add some padding to this container. I'm doing this inline. If I were doing this as a full-on project, I would probably go ahead and create some style classes, but it's okay for now. Go a couple EMs of padding there and a couple of EMs of padding there just to create some spacing. So now let's set up the action that creates the comment. So on the button, on the events tab of the button, we'll do a new flow called new comment. We're going to add an action and we're going to create a new record. And the collection we're going to create the record into is comments. We're going to map two fields this time. The first field we're going to map is the comment field, and that's going to come from the enter a comment input on the page that we added here. So that way it pulls through whatever you've entered there. And then the second field is the item ID. So we need to pull through the ID of the current item that's open and pass that along. So to do that, what we're going to do is change this value to bring. Instead of being from an element, we're going to pull that from the current record field value. So if I choose current record field value, I then need to tell it which collection we're going to be pulling from, which is items. And we need to select a field, which is ID. So this is telling it in the field called item ID of the comment, pulls through the current item's ID as that value. So now when it gets created, it will be associated to that one. Okay, so now if I type something in, so add comment, for instance, and I hit add comment, that's creating the record, but we haven't set up how to display that record yet. So that'll be the next step. We can, however, go ahead and see in the collections, if we go into the comments, we'll be able to see our comment was already added, and you can see that there is an item ID in here. If I copy this item ID and go into the items list, I can also search for that, and we can see which one it's for. In this case, it's for item number 4. All right, so it ties those things together for you using that ID. Okay, we need to create a display for the comments on an item. We'll need a new page, which is the comment row page, and I'll just put it below here. It's going to be a really simple page with just a text box on it. Call this comment row. And this is the comment. And we need to tell data to come from a field, from the comments collection, from the comment value. And then same as what we did before, we're going to put a grid on here. So just like we have a grid of items that shows each item, here we're going to have a grid of comments that shows each comment. The difference is going to be that we're going to filter the comments list of this item to only be the ones that have the matching item ID. So let's go ahead and add a grid. So we'll put that maybe right here below the button. And then we'll select the comment row as the row. So just like before, we can see the comments here. And then what we can do is go to the data, go to collection list, select the comments as the data we want to load. We're going to pull all the fields and we're going to sort by the created date time. That way we see them in order. And then we're going to add a field to filter on. So we don't want all comments. We only want the comments that are associated to the current item. So we're going to filter by item ID. And then we're going to get the current record field value, item ID. So just like what we did when we created the record, we're pushing that item ID from the current item in. When we're filtering the list of comments for this item, we're also going to filter using the current item's ID in that same field to filter on. So this will now return only the ones for that particular one. Now, on the new comment flow, after the new comment has been created, we want to nest in the page binding. So that way it reruns the binding and re-shows that. Make sure you add a wait here. So that way it won't run the page binding until the record has actually successfully been created. And then the last thing I'm going to do here is add another action. We're going to use this set value action to set the value of the comment to just be empty. So I'll rename this just that way if we come back to it, the comment or empty comment field. So now after it saves and after it refreshes the list, it'll empty that comment field. And then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to set the focus back into the comment field. And I will put another wait inside of there. That way it just waits to do it until the end. Okay, so let's go back over to the preview and let's go into one of the items and we're going to type a value in. So my comment on number 2. Oh, that's number 2. And hit add comment. All right, so now it added our comment here. And we can type another one, testing, and add that other comment. All right, so it's keeping the oldest at the top here because I told it to go ascending. If I did descending, it would go the other way around. Let's add one more piece to it that'll make it a little bit more interesting. On the input, let's make it so that on a certain key up, so when the user hits enter on their keyboard, let's run the new comment. Okay, so now if we go back over to the preview, I can type something in here, hit enter, and it creates the comment, and then let's keep typing. If you want to do fast data entry of additional items, it's a real nice way to do that. All right, so now we've got comments on item number 2. Let's close that and go to item number 5. We don't have any comments here yet, so this one will go comment on 5. I add that comment in, close it, go back to number 2, and the filtering is keeping those separated. Right, so if I go into the data collections and we take a look again at the comment records, you see I've got all these different comments and you can see the item IDs are all getting matched up there. So now we have a one-to-many relationship between items and comments. And depending on which item you're on, you have specific comments that are shown. In the next lesson, we'll add tags to each item. We'll create a list of tags in data collections and then add those as tags to each item. So this will be a many-to-many relationship where you're going to have many tags and many items, and you can have any relationship between those that you would like. All right. Thank you for watching. See you on the next lesson.